All right, folks, so what I have here is the best-selling survival kit that I could find on Amazon. This thing, if I recall correctly, was right around 40 bucks US. I don't have any idea what's inside of this thing. I didn't look at it when I ordered it. And so that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna open this thing up, we're gonna pull out all of the contents, take a look at them, see what's in here. And then I'm going to just kind of give you my opinion based on my experience in the woods. All right, so right off the bat, there is an emergency shelter. It looks like just a big Mylar sheet that you can pitch into just a little pup tent type thing. I'm sure we can figure out a way to use this. Maybe use it in this way, maybe use it in a different way. Oh, there's something behind it. There's a poncho, like a blue plastic, really thin, really cheap poncho. We've got a camping lamp. Uses 3 AA batteries. I'm assuming batteries are in here somewhere. Let's just see what this thing looks like. Okay, so has no batteries in it. I really hope the batteries are in here somewhere. Got something heavy here. I think it's a shovel, like a little tiny shovel. I don't know what you're gonna do with this other than dig a poop hole, maybe. This could be useful for, you know, if you're in a time of the year when you can dig for tubers or something like that. Could be useful for something like that, maybe digging fish bait. You're definitely not going to be digging or building a snow shelter or digging your truck out of the mud with this thing here. Okay, so we've got a first aid kit. Let's see what's inside of this thing. My guess, before I open this up, is it's gonna be chock full of Band-Aids and some antiseptic wipes. Maybe some aspirin. Let's see. All right, so we've got a pile of safety pins, which could be very useful. Safety pins used for putting on gauze. In a pinch, you could use them as fish hooks. Definitely some uses there for safety pins. I'm a fan. Got a couple of rolls of gauze, just a very, very small roll of medical tape, lots of Band-Aids, some little crappy little scissors, like very cheap little scissors. Those are, I don't even know why those are in there. There's your iodine wipes, your antiseptic wipes. You've got some tweezers that just are really chintzy. Like, I don't even know, I don't think you could even pull a splinter with those things. Alcohol pads and some more like sticky bandages and a couple of more wound pad gauze type thing. Very basic first aid kit for basically for scratches and very minor cuts. Again, probably just filler, in my opinion. Not really useful. What we got here? Multi-purpose pocket survival tool. It's got a can opener on it if you happen to find some canned foods in the woods. A knife edge. I don't know if I would call that a knife edge. That's pretty dull knife edge. Screwdriver. You could probably turn a screw, a flathead screw with that. A ruler. Not sure why you need that, but there's one there if you need it. So it's got a cap opener in case you come across a stash of IPAs out there. A 4-position wrench. That's this thing right here. Could be useful. Butterfly wrench. Not sure what that is. They call this, I'm assuming they said this is a saw blade. That is looks more like a fish scaler to me. This thing, yeah, probably not real useful. A whistle. This could be potentially useful. Let's see if it works. I mean, that could get somebody's attention. Got a cheap little carabiner here. Carabiners are always useful. You can use them for, looks like there's some cordage over here. You could use it for a block and tackle. What do you think about that, Cedar? Does that pass? I have no idea what the rating would be on something like this, but you know, with the use of the cordage and the carabiner, you could use it to hang a bear bag or hang something up, hang your food up in trees to get it away from bears. So some sort of little quick clip attachment thing. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could figure out a way to use this in some way. I can't think of anything right off the bat, but it seems fairly secure. As long as you're not hanging something super heavy off of it. So maybe you could put this on your belt and clip something to it. All right, so we're kind of into the smaller bits. So we've got a couple of small fire starting wicks. These look like jute or something similar that's soaked in like a paraffin wax. These things, I imagine they're gonna work great, and we're gonna put them to the test here in just a little bit. Got a wire or a cable saw. I've never actually used one like this, but I'm betting that it's going to work fairly well for cutting small branches, so we're going to use that. And a very basic fishing kit. This, I'm happy to see a fishing kit, although there's only 2 hooks. I hope there's more hooks in here than this. This is one of those things that I would, for any kind of survival or bug out kit or whatever, I would consider just a basic fishing kit with monofilament line and an assortment of hooks to be absolutely critical. Anywhere that you're going to have access to fishable waters, this would be something that I would never leave out of a survival kit. The one thing that jumps out at me right off the bat is that there are only 2 hooks. Guaranteed you're going to lose those 2 hooks pretty quickly. So I would like to see more like 10, 15, 20 hooks of various sizes. But that's something, you know, if you did get something like this, that's something you can very easily add. I would like to have seen it come standard in the kit though. So I've got a small compass that seems to be working properly. North is that way, that's the way it's pointed. So on a higher quality compass, you should be able to turn this dial and have it stay put. So if you are following a bearing, you should be able to set that bearing in there and stick it in your pocket and not worry about that thing changing. With this one, I think it could be useful. You're just gonna have to, anytime you pull it out of your pocket, you're gonna have to double check that your same bearing is set in this thing. See what we've got here. So we've got a pair of plastic gloves, a cell phone bag, dry bag for your cell phone. Let's see what we've got here. This looks like some kind of multi-tool / hatchet. Very, very, I mean, it's got a little bit of an edge to it. Very steep angle on this thing. Probably not going to be super useful for like chopping on its own, but you could probably use it for splitting kindling if you stuck it on there and hit the back side of this with a stick. As far as like chopping a tree down or something though, probably not going to happen with this. So you've got some wire cutters here. We'll have to see. I'm not sure if there's snare wire in here, but that would be a great addition to this if there was. A pair of pliers, those could come in very, very handy. You know, if you're working on small things, if you're working on little trap triggers or something like that, sometimes you need to hold things so that you can have just a better handle on them, and it makes carving much, much easier. So let's see, we've got a very, very dull utility blade with a screwdriver. We've got more of those. We've got a bottle opener and some sort of multi-stage wrench thing right here, just like was included on that thing that they called the survival tool. We've got a saw that seems like it would work. Actually, somewhat decent teeth on there, much better than the other thing. A very small little Phillips head screwdriver, and another really dull blade. Now you can see that I'm bending this thing like very easily. I could see myself breaking this pretty quickly. So overall usefulness of this thing, it's fairly heavy, but that's just because it's a big hunk of steel. I don't know, it strikes me as really kind of flimsy and chintzy, which is pretty much what I expected. But we're gonna put it to the test and see if it'll actually hold up to some real world use. So we've got some cordage here. Now this is not paracord, it's some sort of nylon woven cord with probably a polyester core to it, so not nearly as versatile as a good high quality paracord, but still useful. It looks like there may be, I don't know, maybe 10 feet here or something like that. Cordage is one of those things, again, just like the fishing kit, that should be included in every single survival kit. I would like to have seen more than this though. Glow sticks. So these could be useful for signaling people, for marking the location of your camp. If you have to make a foray out at night and you're afraid you might not find your way back, just hang one of these above your camp and easily mark your way. So I've got a little survival bracelet here that's made with paracord. It's got a little ferro rod right here and a little striker, so that's kind of cool. And a whistle. And a compass that seems to be orienting correctly. Again, north is that way, that's the way it's pointing. Now the thing with paracord is it's really easy to get really crappy paracord. The good quality stuff, the mil-spec stuff, is gonna have nylon cores inside. I suspect, and we're going to take this stuff apart and look inside, but I suspect this is probably the cheaper stuff that's going to have a polyester core to it, and that is still useful, but not nearly as useful or versatile as the good quality paracord. See if we can get a little spark off of this. I'm not seeing, oh, there's a little spark. There we go. Yeah, getting some little sparks off of it. So we're going to put this thing to the test and see if we can't get a fire going with it. I'm not sure what this is. A water bottle holder or something? So you can put your neck of the water bottle, if you happen to have one or can find one, in there, and then clip that to either your belt or maybe one of those carabiners. All right, so we've got a spoon, a knife, really thin stuff, probably mild steel, even the blade. I would guess that would be pretty easily dulled. And some more cordage, another whistle. A lot of redundancy here. I'm putting all this stuff back in the plastic and the packaging because, you know, when you're out in the woods in a survival situation and you don't have anything, you never know what's going to come in useful. All this plastic could be useful for getting a fire going. That stuff will burn. It's a petroleum-based product. So here's another ferro rod. It's working pretty well. That'll come in handy. All right, so we've got a ballpoint pen. Could be very useful for writing notes, letting people know what you're up to. You know, if you have to leave camp, if you're trying to leave a trail for people to follow. Looks like a glass breaker. So maybe they supplied us with some paper in here so that we can leave a note. Lots of Q-tips. Gotta keep those ears clean, I reckon. Little pocket knife. All these knives in here are super dull. I mean, you would need to sharpen these before you use them. It's probably the best knife in this pack, but it's still very, very chintzy and dull. Little small flashlight, again, no battery. Little Mylar space blanket. This can come in very useful as a heat reflector. And this is your instructions kind of buried down in there. Triangular, and another larger bandage for, looks like an arm sling or something like that. All right. So this tells you what all this stuff is. All right, so yeah, this thing that with the little circle is a tactical water bottle holder. That's kind of interesting. They show a photo here of using this combo knife and spoon as a gig to gig fish. Alright guys, so to wrap up this video, I reckon you could probably guess that I am just not a huge fan of these prefabbed kits like this for a couple of different reasons. Number one, and this is not always, but most of the time, they're gonna put the cheapest stuff possible that they can stuff in these sacks. Number two is that there's always filler. There's always stuff in these prefabbed kits that you're just never going to use. You don't need 500 Q-tips. What you do need is items that aren't gonna break or tear up on you when your life is on the line. I mean, if you think about it, that's the reason you're carrying these things, is worst case scenario when your life is at risk. Me personally, if my life's on the line, I want good stuff. Nevertheless, I am gonna take this kit to the woods and I'm gonna treat it like this is the only thing that I have and I'm gonna have to make it work. I'm gonna try to get the best possible performance out of everything in this kit, and we're just gonna see how it turns out. But going through this kit and knowing that this is the best-selling survival kit on Amazon made me think that I need to put together a video showing how I put together a kit and showing all the items that I would put in there that I would be willing to bet my life on. Is it gonna cost more than 40 bucks? Yeah, but it's gonna be quality materials that aren't gonna tear up on you when it hits the fan. So if you wanna see videos like that, be sure to subscribe and we'll see you on the next one. Let's make it work.